Hello, welcome to another episode of Live Stream Insiders. It is the first one of a new year, 2018. We're well and truly into our third year of doing Live Stream Insider shows every single week. This is episode 115. There goes the bell. And also, here comes the clock, because if you're new to the Live Stream Insider show, what we try and do is we try and keep our shows to 30 minutes or thereabouts, just so you can manage your time. And also it helps keep us on track as well when we give you the last 7 days, this occasion because we weren't on over Christmas and New Year, the last 3 weeks worth of live streaming news over the next 30 minutes. I'm Peter Stewart. I've got a background in presentation and production, and Krishna Day is my co-host on Live Stream Insiders, and she's got a huge background in technical stuff and also image production as well for some really big international companies. Together, we're Live Stream Insiders. Hi Krishna, welcome to 2018.
Yeah, what a week we've got to start off with. So much news coming up, everybody. But I wanted to say, well done, Peter, because you connected with somebody that I've followed for a long, long time today. You did a live stream with somebody. You can tell us about that in a moment. But I think as a result of that, I want to give a shout out here because I'm seeing a lot of people joining our page, and I'm guessing that that's the common factor because it's very recent. So if you're Frederick or you're Andy or you're Christine, a very warm welcome to the Live Stream Insiders, and I hope you're going to be able to watch the show either here live or on replay. Here on the Live Stream Insiders, our goal, in fact, we've been together, coming up 3 years now, I think, since we first met, Peter, wasn't it, in terms of in the early days of Periscope. And we met and we started the show off without actually meeting each other in real life. And I think it was about 9 months after we had started, or actually had met, we actually then met in real life. But one of the things we like to do is bring you the latest news, tools, technologies, case studies. And as Peter said, we've actually got a number of things to bring you. So there have been platform updates for you to look at and also lots of different case studies. So this week, we're not going to have so much time for tips, but remember, if you do want to get in contact with us, you can use the message facility on Facebook. You can contact Peter and myself over on Twitter. You can find us easily online, and we'll be very happy to answer any questions that you've got. But we've got lots going on today. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the live stream that you did in terms of early today, which probably brought a number of people over. And thank you for doing that. And thank you to Sri particularly in terms of for actually letting us mention the show there.
Absolutely, and we're talking when we say Sri because that's what he's known by. It's his first name, and also he was really prompt on Twitter because his Twitter name is @Sri SREE Srinivasan, and he's a social media consultant, and also he's been the top man as far as digital and social media goes for the big Columbia Journalism School in the United States, also the Met Museum in New York City, and also New York City as well. So he really is at the top of his game when he's teaching people about, and also practicing as well, whole range of social and digital skills. And he's just about to embark on a huge world tour of various countries, I think 20 countries and a handful of cities around the world, more than a handful, a couple of handfuls of cities around the world. So probably coming somewhere near you to teach you all about social and digital skills. Every Sunday he does a read along with the Sunday edition of the New York Times, and I caught that today, coming live and direct from his kitchen, and also we were able to, he invited me to jump on and to speak with him all about my new book, which I've told you about before as well. So that was a fantastic opportunity to do that and to speak with him. So if you were there and you joined and you followed, and I mentioned the Live Stream Insider show as well, if you were following that, then welcome to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Because I did promote the programme, and also fortunate enough to speak with Perry Hewitt, who is also really involved, just reading her bio here, sustainable change to enable academic and cultural communities to adapt and thrive through digital transformation. So at Perry Hewitt, at Sri, And at Krishna Day, boy, oh boy, you were so prompt, weren't you, at getting some of your actual name on Twitter. And me not far behind with at Tweeter Stewart. Anyway, let's crack on. Predictions for live streaming in 2018. Also updates to various apps to do with live streaming. Whole load of case studies as well over Christmas and New Year. We'll see how people and various companies were using live streaming to promote themselves, to promote their brands, to encourage more engagement. Also some technical case studies as well over Christmas and New Year, which Krishna is going to be talking about. We're going to be going to Australia and China, the United States and the Netherlands with those case studies. Bit of hustling, bit of argy-bargy, sharpening elbows between Twitter and Facebook over the past couple of 3 weeks. And also, do you remember the Periscope Community Summit? Yeah, we got a really interesting update about what that has morphed into over the last couple of years and also over the last couple of weeks coming your way as well. In the next 24 minutes as Live Stream Insiders gets underway for episode 115. Thank you very much indeed for watching either our live or our recorded show if you're watching after the fact. So first of all, let's have a look at a couple of those predictions which were made over the New Year period about where live streaming is heading over the course of 2018. First of all, Forbes.com had 7 social media trends that will dominate in 2018, and number 2 came, live streaming will continue its explosive rise in popularity. And they mentioned that about 80% of consumers would prefer to watch a live video from a brand rather than read a blog from them, and 82% would prefer live video to a written social media update. They know that already. Obviously, those are stats from 2017. But the line, Krishna, that jumped out at me from that particular article was, quote, "This is no longer a cool new way to interact with audiences. It's an expectation for your brand." So, you know, this is something which should be almost normality, that brands should be jumping on live streaming. Something, of course, Krishna and I very often say is live streaming is not for everyone, it's not for every brand, it's not for every occasion, but it does have a particular place in your marketing, and it's something that more and more brands should be taking as a realization and part of their normalcy when they are considering their marketing profile and their marketing agenda as they go forward. So that was from Forbes.com. Also, SEOland.in, Number one in their 5 video marketing trends for 2018 was live video. And they said live video may not be a new upcoming trend. Again, very similar to what Forbes was saying, but the influence of live video will grow at a prodigious pace in 2018. Couple of facts from SEOland.in. People spend 3 times longer watching video which is live compared to pre-recorded video, showing that this new trend is here to stay. And Krishna, at the back end of 2017, there were 1 or 2 naysayers, weren't there, that I know you and I both know, that were saying, live streaming, it's had its day, it ain't going anywhere, we're going to pull the plug on. No. Live video is here to stay, and it's getting more and more entrenched with people's brands, with people's personal profiles as well as the year progresses. And also, still with New Year news, let me give you a couple of stats from Facebook themselves about how people were using live streaming literally as 2017 became 2018, because they released some stats a couple of days ago to say that more than 10 million people around the world went live on Facebook to share their New Year's Eve party, and at the moment the clock ticked over from one old year to one new year. 10 million people. So showing where they were, their parties, their fireworks and their events. That's 47% more live videos 2017 to 2018 than there were 2016 to 2017. So 3 times as many broadcasts with a friend than there were in December, making it the biggest day so far on live video, which is pretty fantastic. The most used word in titles were or in reactions, I should say, to those live streams was perhaps inevitably, wow. And the top 10 cities in the United States where people went live on New Year's Eve were at 10, Milwaukee, 9, San Antonio. I love San Antonio. 8, Honolulu. Number 7, Chicago, 6, Houston, 5, New York. I would have thought that would have been higher up than 5, but no. 4, Memphis, 3, Detroit, 2, Orlando. You can kind of get where this is going. And number 1 for live streams on New Year's Eve, anywhere in the United States, was Vegas. Of course, it's a little milder there for people to be getting out their phones, and of course, arguably, it is the party capital of the United States. So Vegas was the number 1 place where people went live from on Facebook Live on New Year's Eve / New Year's Day. So there's a short little update there from some predictions for where live streaming is going in 2018, and also some stats for the very first few seconds of 2018 from Facebook itself.
There's actually so much news that's going on at the minute. It's really hard to keep up with. And I don't know if you've taken any time, Peter, over the holidays. And I was just also looking here, thanks to everybody who's watching us here live, and also everybody who's sharing the replay. One of the things I'm noticing, though, is that there was a change here on the platform we use, which is Blue Jeans. And also, I'm also finding it hard to find our live stream on Facebook today. So hopefully other people find us, because I actually can't find it through the Facebook app. But anyway, maybe you've been having those kind of problems in terms of your live streams that you've been doing. I'm seeing a lot of different people actually exploring at the minute live stream challenges. There's somebody I know who wants to go live every day of this year. Boy, that is a real challenge to be that committed to do it. I see somebody else who's doing a live stream challenge for 31 days. Somebody else has just done one for 5 days. And there's so many different platforms that we can use. So in this next segment, what I want to do is give you a quick update in terms of things that you may have missed over the holiday season in terms of some applications that you're using, because there are so many options in terms of where we go live and what platform we use. So the first one I want to look at is Instagram. And I don't know if you've been using live video over on Instagram at all. I don't do it too often. I actually do use the stories. I see a lot of people and organizations using Instagram stories now. But what I'm going to do is I actually want to share with you here a screenshot that you'll see of actually a friend of mine, Eileen. And Eileen is a regular viewer and participant here on the show, on the Livestream Insiders. And I managed to catch her live earlier today. And one of the things that you will see is a new feature that actually was released just before Christmas. And basically what you can do now, so she would have seen something slightly different because it's her stream, but what you can do is you can actually share, when you're doing live streams, you can share it to other people through direct messaging. And then because I'm following her and then I can see her live stream, you'll see at the bottom, there's a little kind of the direct message icon that you see on Instagram. And if I click that, I could have shared her live stream to other people. So that's an important one to note, because you can actually say to people when they're watching you, you can actually give them a shout out to say, hey, I can see you're watching here. If you'd like to share it to your friends, your colleagues, remember there's a little button now that you can use, and just click that and you can invite other people to come and watch. And so that's a great way that you could actually get some more viewers for your live stream. The one thing I do want to point out, though, is that sometimes you may not want to do that. Maybe you want it to be private. And so if you prefer, you can disable it. So the other image that you see in the screenshot there is the one where you actually can go to your settings, and you specifically need to go to your story settings. And from there, you actually can disable the sharing. Now, that's an important one probably for you to mention to the younger family members who might be using Instagram, because I know it's very popular with my teenage daughters. And so again, they may want to just think about who can the content be shared with. And so that's just one thing to be aware of. And that's a really nice update that we've seen there from Instagram. But as I said, just take a note of that, of actually how you could use it, both for yourself when you're live streaming as a shout out, but also when you're watching something, but also the privacy settings. The next update I have for you is a platform I actually been in conversation with for about a year. And the platform is called Stage 10. And just before Christmas, they released the platform for anybody to be able to use. Now, the way that they're looking to price it, I don't have the full details yet. I was in conversation with their community manager, as I said, just before Christmas. And there were, what I could see there on their site is that if you've got, I think it was at the time, it was something like less than 50,000 followers, I think it was, on your social networks, then it's going to be completely free for you to use. I'm not sure what the price is going to be after that, but obviously it's just been released. Now, they've been testing this for a long time. They've got YouTube videos available, lots of tutorials as well. I personally haven't been able to have a go or test it, but why you might want to use it is this is completely free, probably for many of us to be able to use, unless you've got a huge following on social. But specifically, you'll be able to use it for live streaming to Facebook, to Twitch, and also to YouTube. And it's completely free, as I said, and lots of options there for also bringing people into the application to actually participate with you. And one thing to note, if you want to bring people in to actually participate on the live stream, they also need to have created an account at this point in time, in terms of that's the way that Stage 10 works. But new platform for most of us to test out. And if you're looking for a free platform, a free solution in terms of being able to add custom lower thirds and other information, and including bringing in content such as guests to be on your show, and you're looking for a completely free desktop solution, then that's one for you to take a look at. Have a look at Stage 10. The next one that I saw, again before Christmas, was there's an organisation called Live Reacting. And Live Reacting have just released a new update. And that update is allowing you to do host trivia games on Facebook. Now, one of the things that happened, again, just before Christmas was there was a change in terms of Facebook's algorithm, in terms of what they were saying they were going to allow in terms of in the news feed. And that was about, there was a lot of clickbait engagement posts where, you know, there'd be people who would just post something, maybe a GIF, and encourage people to say, you know, like if it's this, or give us a reaction around this. And what Facebook are obviously trying to do is clean up the news feed. I saw a lot of that going on. I actually saw a lot of Irish businesses doing that just before Christmas. Brands that I hadn't seen in my newsfeed for a long time, and that was mainly because of the kind of content that they were sharing just before Christmas. So if you haven't taken a look at that and you're specifically using Facebook, do have a look at the Facebook newsroom for the guidance that they've given there in terms of how to actually manage that and what that might mean for you. Clearly, as an organisation or a brand, or if you're using a business page, then they're going to be looking for us to also use paid advertising as well. But do take a look at the live trivia game. Now, all of the resources that we talk about will be available after the show. We curate all of this for you. You can have a look at it. As I said, I wasn't sure whether or not this is going to be impacted by that new change on Facebook. And then the last one I have for you here, just wanted to sneak this in, which is to do with friends of ours, which is Switcher Studio, a great platform if you're looking to live stream in one location from multiple iOS devices. They had a big update, version 3.6. And what might be of interest to you there is you can see in this image, and again, they've got videos, they've got articles, they've been doing live streams about it. They're very active, so you can ask them the questions. And you can see there all of the navigation in terms of managing that live stream is being done not from the iPad as we would have had to do in the past, but now from an iPhone. And so if you're somebody who's actually, you know, have got a whole bunch of iPhones in the team, and you didn't necessarily have the latest iPads to be able to use, then you might want to go and check this out. There is a free trial that you can use if you want to use Switcher Studio. It's got a very active community, very good in terms of answering people's questions, and good case studies there as well. So you might want to check that out. But try out their free trial, get access to the app, and you can actually see what it's like for you to go live in terms of multi-camera. We've got a multi-camera case study for you a little later on today. I'm not sure if they actually used Switcher Studio for it, but we'll have a look at that case study a little later on. So lots of updates. I'm going to take a look at Facebook in a moment just to see if there's any comments we need to be answering. But in the meantime, Peter, over to you for the next set of news.
Absolutely. So we've got some case studies coming at you thick and fast because live streaming, particularly over Christmas and New Year, the holiday season, is fantastic, obviously, to show what party you're at, as we mentioned a few moments ago. But also, if you've got something to sell, inevitably, because it's really, really good to get onto a live stream and to give a demonstration of a particular product or to promote a particular potential gift or something like that as people are going holiday shopping. And also because it's the end of one year, beginning of the next, it's an opportunity to look back and talk about your successes and to talk to your customers, your consumers, your friends, people you've got a relationship with about where you're going to be going in the future, all part of your marketing for your small business potentially. And what really jumped out at me over the holidays was an article from AmpLive, and they were talking about a couple of case studies which really caught my attention. And one was the Marketing Wonderland Holiday 17 seminar, which was a 2-hour live stream where small businesses could come together and watch and learn from some of the biggest names in the business about marketing strategy. And these were really big companies like Google and Constant Contact and Facebook as well. And they were educating potential customers across the country on holiday marketing techniques. And that was really, really interesting to see and to learn about. That they were, as the phrase goes, sending the lift back down and passing on some techniques and some ideas about how smaller companies could learn from some of the bigger companies. And also there was a big tie-up, and this is something I mentioned in my live streaming book as well, the live streaming handbook, and that was all about how different companies who are in a similar area but aren't actually in competition with each other can work together in a live stream to mutual benefit. So HP, Hewlett Packard, the computer company, got into bed with Walmart, and they did a product demonstration to give brand awareness and ramp up a little bit of excitement about the newly a new addition to the HP company, to the HP family, I should say, the new HP laptop in time for the holidays. So what they decided to do was to give a demonstration of this new PC and also tell you how you could buy it at Walmart. And they went online together with AmpLive, who actually wrote about it, as I say. And they had the audience participation there. The audience could ask questions. They could pre-order. They could buy at special discounted rates, all during this live event. So that was another great example of live streaming, building up a bit of awareness. And as I say, also answering questions as well and building that engagement with their potential customers and with the audience. And also mentioned in this article from AmpLive was something which happened a few years ago along similar lines in 2015 when Martha Stewart and Home Depot or Home Depot got together to do some high-end DIY, a live DIY workshop, which was hosted by Martha Stewart, and it was in a place that perhaps you wouldn't normally expect maybe Martha Stewart and Home Depot going together, but they did, and it worked really well, and it reached millions of people. It led to a large boost in web traffic and awareness for both of those brands, two brands which normally you wouldn't expect to be in bed together. So that was really interesting to look at. So those three case studies really jumping out at me over the last couple of 3 weeks. And also another one, very, very quickly, because we're running out of time, but it can be covered in the next 1 minute, 90 seconds or so. And that's really interesting what is happening in Australia at the moment. Some live streaming by Chinese live streamers, and we already know how big live streaming is in China, but they've got some Chinese presenters who are almost embedded in Australia, who are fluent in both languages, who are doing lots of live stream interviews and behind the scenes streams with some big Australian companies. And one particular article that I was looking at over the course of the last couple of weeks from sbs.com.au you featured Tian Shuang, who's a 25-year-old, and up till recently she was an international student at the Australian National University, and now she's an internet live seller, and she makes a living promoting high quality Australian products to her followers back home. She essentially goes around Australia and, as I say, does the interviews, does behind the scenes streams, and there are about 1,000 live sellers in Australia on Taobao, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, which is China's biggest online retailer. And Tian Shuang, she's based in Sydney. She has 250,000 Chinese followers to her live streams. And businesses in Australia see the potential of selling not only to Australia, but also to China as well. And she has been presenting live stream programs for UGG, the vitamin company Swiss, and Bellamy's organic baby formula as well. And she says that live sellers are gaining popularity in China as they seem to be much more reliable. You can't hide anything, obviously, as we know, in a live stream. And just a quote from here, China-Australia trade consultant Lewis Jones from a company called China Connects says the live selling phenomenon will be in full flow over the next few years, having seen many Australian businesses struggle to enter the lucrative but saturated Chinese market. He believes it's an effective business strategy as it has low risks and low costs. He says, you can know more about the audience than you would compare to a scattergun approach. As we know, with your followers already there on your platform, you're live streaming to a niche audience rather than doing a general advertising campaign on traditional media. And he says the live seller will give you a more defined audience and can show you their track record for what kind of products they've introduced and what they know has done well in the past. So it's some of the old things that we've talked about over the last 3 years on Live Stream Insiders. It's another case study to illustrate those particular facts and those particular techniques. So again, as Krishna said a few moments ago, all of these links to all of these case studies will be available after the show.
One of the things that we like to do here on Live Stream Insiders is bring you case studies from all sorts of organisations. So we've just been covering some examples from businesses there. But as you probably are aware, that if you have met us before, that as Peter mentioned earlier on as well, that he is a journalist. He works for a large organisation. And so we know that we've got a lot of people who follow us here who are also in news and media. And I've done a lot of work in that sector too. And so we've got a next case study for you is actually from a Dutch regional broadcaster. I may pronounce this incorrectly, Omroep Friesland. And they did their first Facebook Live. So not everybody has been using Facebook Live for the full time it's been available. I know there's lots of organisations who are still experimenting with it. I'm not sure about it. But they actually have done their first Facebook Live with the multiple cameras. And again, not sure if they were using Switcher Studio or what platform they were using to do that. But there's a case study that's been written up. I'm just going to highlight a couple of things from it, but I think you might find it helpful if you're in the world of media and broadcasting. So they set this up as an experimental stream, and they did it before Christmas, and they actually positioned it as being a little bit of fun, so they didn't want it to be too serious. Actually, you'll be able to find it, if your Dutch is good, you'll be able to find it and watch it there. I took a screenshot from it on Facebook. And they said they wanted to actually use it much more around setting up for Christmas rather than actually it being a heavy show. So what they did is they made it really easy in terms of their pre-production. They just had a number of people who actually were reporters with them, who actually took a little piece to look back really at the year. So the format of the show was created, and it basically had journalists being interviewed by reporters on a sofa, as you can see there. And they didn't have any special lighting set up. It was just whatever was there in terms of within the environment that they were using. And they actually had some pre-recorded packages, as they call it in the media, that were used in terms of pre-recorded video during the hour-long show that they then inserted into that show. And they said that even the reporters who were used to using radio, and we've found this a lot with the people that we work with, is that particularly if you're using mobile devices for your live streams, or in fact for video capturing as well. People feel a lot more comfortable, and there's been research done about that too, in terms of it not being a large camera that's in front of them. So those people who were saying, well, actually used to being on radio, they felt that the Facebook Live was actually non-threatening, it describes in the article, because there were no large cameras or heavy equipment to make them feel nervous. And they said they're going to definitely do it again, and they've got lots of ideas, perhaps doing things around the elections, sports programmes, and so on. So it's great to see another broadcaster in Europe looking to experiment with Facebook Live. That article was from journalism.co.uk, and as we said, all the links will be provided for you at the end of the show.
And there goes our alarm to say that 30 minutes is up. Unfortunately, we've only got a couple of snippets left to tell you about in this week's programme. First of all, that little bit of argy-bargy sharpening of elbows between Twitter and Facebook that I mentioned at the start of the show, because up until, last year, Twitter had the rights to live stream the Golden Globes red carpet show. Now it's gone to Facebook. So they've got the exclusive rights. Now, it's not the main award show, because that's actually owned by, I think it's NBC, isn't it? NBC have got the rights for that, but this is where the celebrities are photographed, and they've got those really, really soft and easy questions as they go into the event about their wardrobe and what their predictions are for the Golden Globe award winners. And part of the reason that the organisers have gone with Facebook is because they're going to be also sourcing some of the questions that the celebrities are going to be asked from the Facebook audience. And also they're going to be doing a few behind the scenes live streams as well, also on Facebook. So some exclusive live footage, 360-degree videos, which we've spoken about before on Live Stream Insiders, from backstage content and things like that as well. And also they've got that chance, obviously, to kind of cross-promote with Instagram too. So watch out for that when that gets underway, which is happening today, isn't it? Sunday, January the 7th. It's getting underway as we speak. So certainly in the next few hours as people are getting ready for that. So we're bang on the money with the information as it happens. And Krishna's got a bit of a change about as well, with a bit of a change of name, a bit of a change of ownership for one of the original live stream events. Krishna.
Absolutely. In fact, this is an event that I know that some of you have been attending. So I just want to give a shout out here to people who are watching us live at the minute, particularly Ruth and Sabrina and Patricia and Kimberly. Thank you so much for being with us here. Sabrina, I think, is probably going to have a Golden Globe party. A bit like the Oscars. I'm sure she's sitting there with a lovely glass of something later on today, and all dressed up, ready for the Golden Globes. But that's something that you were just talking about there. And I know that, I think, if I remember rightly, that Sabrina has been to this event that we were just talking about. And the event is Summit Live. Peter was actually a speaker at the first ever Summit Live, if I remember rightly, in the September, I think it was, of 2015.
Absolutely.
And so
that was when it was called the Periscope Community Summit.
Yeah, how life has changed. And so this is really interesting because it's Summit Live has actually been officially now purchased by AmpLive, and because of their platform, in terms of them as a distributor, a helper of people getting viewers for your live streams, they're focusing on larger organisations, which obviously is of interest to the work that I do. And so they're actually looking at encouraging Fortune 500, so the likes of Salesforce and Microsoft and so on, in terms of actually looking at them as case studies, but also looking at how other organisations could be using live streaming as well, because it's still not completely adopted. And certainly my experience in terms of, for the most case, with larger organisations, is it's often used in terms of a campaign and very specific and one-offs, as I've seen, as we were hearing there, just like even the Christmas events or holiday events, versus it being a consistent show like we do. It takes a lot to do consistent kind of communications in terms of using live streaming as a platform, particularly if you want to do it with some of the other things that you might be thinking about in terms of how you repurpose it, how you optimize it, and so on. So they said, despite its value in the announcement, few marketers are currently incorporating marketing solutions into their live strategies, and there's little industry consensus on best practices. AmpLive has made its mission to facilitate conversations and foster learning around marketers working with or considering the live video medium. A bit like what Peter and I do in our own small little way, I think, Peter, isn't it? And so they decided to acquire and grow Summit Live. Summit Live was, as we said, founded in 2015, and so they're actually looking to extend it in 2018. It's also going to be in a number of different locations. It's going to be in San Francisco, New York, and Las Vegas, as well as LA. So really interesting to see that. And if you actually go to summit.live, you actually be able to find the details there. It's also on the AmpLive website. So I'm going a bit croaky there just at the end. One piece of news that I forgot to actually also share a little bit earlier on. One of the platforms that Peter and I have used over time is a platform that was called Smile Time. We also had members of their team on it with us a couple of times on the show. You might remember a little while ago they rebranded and repositioned the app to be a live chat app, and that is called Pop-In. And what's happened in this last week is that they've now got that Android app released. So great to see that they've continued to develop their platform. As I said, it's called pop.in. Pop-In, it's a live video chat platform, and it's now available also for Android. So good luck to the team over there at Pop-In. Great to see them doing that. I think that's it for me in terms of all of my news, Peter.
Absolutely. Thank you so much indeed for watching. Len, we'll get back to you with that information, just looking it up there. And have I found it here? I have. So I'll pop those details into the chat in the next few moments. And of course, all of our links are available after the show. Krishna, how do people find that whole list of links for everything we've been talking about? Where do they find that?
Straight to the archive of the show. After the show, within an hour, I usually have all of the links posted there as a curation for you to hop on over to and explore further.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. So that is Live Stream Insiders episode 115. It's the first episode of 2018. Thanks indeed for watching, whether you're watching live right now or whether you're watching the pre-recorded version. Again, kind of right now. I'll be also on joining Ross Brand, who's invited me to be his guest on the Livestream Universe show on Thursday, or midnight Friday morning for me here in London. But really looking forward to that, because he wants to know a little bit more about the live streaming handbook that I've written. So Ross, thanks very much indeed for that. So you'll be able to, if you want to know more about that, join us on Ross's show, the Live Streaming Universe programme on Thursday. So it only remains for me to say, as we often do, thank you for the loan of your eyes and your ears over the last 35 minutes or so. Really good to have your support and your involvement and your engagement. Don't forget to follow at Krishna Day, at Tweeter Stewart, and at LS Insiders, and also make sure you follow us here on Facebook, and then you'll be reminded when our next show goes live, which is in just under 7 days from now. Thanks so much indeed for watching. Have a great week ahead. Goodbye.